Story 6, Part 5. Shadows in the City. The city never felt the same again. Not really. Even in broad daylight, even among the crowd of pedestrians and the roar of traffic, I could feel the pulse beneath the streets, faint but insistent, like a heartbeat I could not escape. At first, it was subtle, shapes flickering in the corner of my vision, a shadow that moved against the flow of pedestrians, a reflection in a shop window that lingered a second too long. I would turn, and the streets were empty, nothing more than asphalt, neon, and rain. But the feeling of being watched never left. Then, the whispers started again. Not underground this time. Not through tunnels or subways, but above ground, in alleys, bouncing off the high rises, curling through the gaps between buildings. You are learning. You are learning. You are learning. I tried to tell myself it was paranoia. A side effect of too many nights spent chasing shadows beneath abandoned stations. But the city doesn't lie. Chicago remembers. And it remembers those who notice the wrong things. It started with the buses. I would see passengers staring, no faces, just blank, pale forms. And then their mouths would move, forming words I couldn't hear, or maybe I wasn't meant to hear them yet. Their eyes glimmered like wet stones, reflecting something deep and unknowable. Each time I tried to approach, they vanished. Just a blur of motion, the metallic scent of the city heavy in the air. Then the sidewalks. People would pause as I walked past, always at the same time, always turning to look at me from across the street. Hollow faces, yet familiar somehow, echoes of people I knew, or maybe the people I had glimpsed in the vanishing car. Their hands lifted slightly, like a silent wave. A warning. Or an invitation. I couldn't tell. Skyscrapers themselves seemed alive. Windows glimmered, reflecting shapes that moved contrary to the wind, silhouettes that shouldn't have been there, faces pressed to the glass from inside, staring down at me like the city was watching through a million eyes. And in each reflection, there was a flicker of that faceless figure from the car, smoke curling around invisible jaws, observing, teaching. One night, I tried to escape it. I ran to the lakefront, hoping the open water would break the pulse beneath my feet. The waves crashed against the shore, and the wind bit my face. Relief. Maybe. But even there, beneath the moonlight, the whispers found me. The water shimmered unnaturally, and in its reflections, I saw them again, dozens of faceless forms, moving along invisible tracks, eyes fixed on me, waiting. I realized then that this wasn't about the tunnels anymore. This wasn't about the vanishing car or the underground trains. The city itself had become the teacher. Every street lamp, every skyscraper, every puddle and shadow was a page in its lesson. And I was the student it had chosen. I tried to speak about it. Told friends, strangers, anyone who would listen. But words failed. Faces blanked when I described them, voices dulled, and soon, I understood. Some knowledge isn't meant to be shared. Some lessons must be lived. I began to notice small things, patterns in the subway schedules, whispers in the wind, the way pigeons scattered when the pulse beneath the streets thrummed harder. Each detail was a clue, a breadcrumb left for me by the city itself. It was teaching me patience. Observation. Fear. Control. But fear was useless. Control was an illusion. Patience was all I had. Because I knew, deep down, that sooner or later, the vanishing car would return, the faceless figure would appear, and I would have to step inside again. And when that moment came, I would finally understand what Chicago had been teaching all along.